Hello and welcome to Dog Day Chess. In this episode we're going to look at an opening trap in the Damiano Defence. Now I'm playing white, and when I play white I usually open with e4, and a standard response for that is e5, in which case I follow it up with knight to f3. Now in this game black played f6, and this is known as the Damiano Defence. Now the Damiano Defence is considered to be an inferior defense for a couple of reasons. First of all, it opens the king up to an attack from the side, and it also weakens the kingside pawn structure. Now, at this point, I play knight captures e5. And this is a bit of a trap because it looks like I'm giving my knight up. Now, what black should do is black should respond by bringing the queen out, threatening the knight, and then after I move my knight back, after a couple of follow-up moves, black will win back the pawn. But instead, black fell for the trap. Black captured the knight. Now, there's a strong move that white can make now to follow this up. And if you like, you can pause the video for a moment to see if you can see what that move is. Okay, well that move is bringing the queen out to h5, check. Okay. Now, black could block the check by pushing the g-pawn up, in which case the queen could just capture the central pawn, forking the king and the rook, and then eventually winning the rook. But moving back to the check in this game, black didn't do that. Black instead moved the king out of check, and so I followed that up by capturing the central pawn, check. King has to move to f7. Now I bring my bishop out to check again. King moves over to the g file, bring my queen out, and this forces the king off to the side. So I've pushed the king off to the side. Now by pushing my d-pawn I've got a discovered check on the king. So at this point black can block the check by pushing the pawn, and I follow that up by moving my h-pawn up, attacking that pinned pawn. Okay? So in the game black tried to defend the pinned pawn by moving the bishop out, but I follow that up with capturing that pawn, and this is a double check, a discovered check from the rook and a check from the pawn. The king has to move to g7, and I finish him off with the queen to f7 mate. Now moving back to this position, instead of defending with the bishop, black could have just moved the king back, but that doesn't work either, because after queen to f7 check, forces the king back to the h-file, and then from here I can capture the pawn with mate. So the moral of the story is, if you're playing the Damiano Defense, don't fall for the trap, don't capture the knight. Better is to bring the queen out. But better still, avoid the Damiano Defense altogether, because you can get yourself into trouble with it. So as always, I hope you got something out of this episode, and thanks for watching.